I've negotiated favorable terms with, companies as small as Canteen to companies as big as Salesforce. And, one of the things that I always remember, and it was taught to me at a very young age, is that, remember that the person on the other side of the phone is also a human being. They're driven by human factors. If you're having a good business conversation, it makes anything about negotiating a lot easier, right? It's not personal. You're not talking down to people. I think just treating the other person on the other side of the phone with respect, I think goes a long way, because they're just not usually used to that. They're used to people talking down to them because they're in sales, and they quickly realize with me that they don't need to put on a hard pitch. I'm either into it or I'm not, and I don't waste people's time. If I'm not into it, I very respectfully tell them I'm not into it. But if I'm on the phone with you, you don't need to sell me on the product or product pitch. And I usually help them get there to that point where they don't feel like they have to, hard sell and use quote unquote sales tactics. The number two thing that I generally follow is, understanding my leverage point. How willing am I to walk away from the deal if I'm not getting the deal terms that I want, right? Is there a close enough alternative? If I'm talking about a vendor to monitor, say, my Amazon services, there's a couple of different vendors out there. How willing am I to walk away from one vendor who, say, is charging me 1.5 times competition, right? How data-driven is my approach, where if I get on the phone and say, look, I don't know why I'm getting overcharged with you guys. I genuinely enjoy your product, but, as someone who's fiduciarily responsible for my company, I have to do the right thing. And the right thing in this case, to me, seems like I need to walk away from the deal. Again, no sort of games there, sort of just being honest with people and using a data-driven approach of saying, look, this is the truth. I have options to walk away from you, and this is the timeline, and this is what your competition's offering. And especially given this day and age, most of that data is available. Most of that data is readily accessible to people, so they know whether you're lying or you aren't lying. So if you're honest about it and you're able to walk away in certain situations, you should, if you're not getting the deal terms. And as long as they know that that's what you're doing, most people are more willing to negotiate just to keep you on because they know you will walk. And finally, I think it's again going back to that human element of what are you willing to give them to work with. It's something along the lines of, well, hey, look, decrease my price per unit and I'll sign a 2-year deal, or, decrease my price per unit and maybe I'll get on an additional service that thus far I haven't needed, but I've been thinking about getting it somewhere else, right? Whether it's a support angle or something where they now feel like they have something that they can take to their bosses and they say, look, these guys have been a good customer for us for the last X amount of years. They're willing to, give us something in terms of a commitment or a signed deal for an extended period of time, but they're also asking for something back. And that has usually worked for me. There's obviously times where, you end up at an impasse with someone and like I said, respectfully tell them that you have to move on.